Welcome back to Bound News Network. We're working on Volume 1, Chapter 9. We've actually covered quite a bit of territory when it comes to our list of 500 of the most common words that we anticipate that will possibly show up on a TOEFL, SAT, or even other standardized exams. We are hoping that this is actually serving you pretty well, and you're actually picking up quite a few of the vocabulary terms. We just want to pick up from Chapter 8 where we left off with respect to the synonym matching exercise, and this is actually the answer sheet that we promised you. We can start from the top real quick. Affable is approachable as a synonym. Alley, which would be for calm, benevolent, would be kind. Deleterious would be similar to perinoceous. And we have devious, which is for dishonest as a synonym. Indolent, we see is for sluggish. And these are just some of the synonyms that we had for the previous exercise that we wanted to go over to make sure that you were pretty solid as far as being able to attach the word with actually its closest synonym, and that will actually help you to do a brain map as far as increasing your recall powers. We have found that by using different types of memory exercises, you can actually increase your retention of this vocabulary, which will allow you to be able to call upon them for pretty much the rest of your life, as far as being able to put together cover letters, or whether it be a presentation at work, or just simply preparing for the TOEFL, SAT, and other standardized exams. But it's actually been proven that being able to call upon solid vocabulary is going to be able to increase your ability to really comprehend some of the passages and some of the terms that you may find on these exams. With that said, we can see that we're going to be covering and expanding your vocabulary with 12 new words. We're going to examine them as far as their another synonym exercise, matching exercise, that will of course provide you with the answer sheet for our next chapter. We want to expose you really quickly to some of the synonyms that we're anticipating. So this is going to be the matching exercise before we actually get into the definitions. But let's take a look at some of the more popular idioms that we have been focusing on. We're actually going to be covering we've covered 9 in the previous chapters once we started looking at idioms, and these are basically expressions that may pop up on the TOEFL SAT exam, and it's good to know what they mean, how they're actually used in context, and it will also expand your ability to comprehend passages if they're actually used. A lot of times they'll be used in different ways, and that will increase your ability to comprehend passages and make the right choices as far as choices on the exam. So let's take a look at in for a penny, in for a pound. The expression is used commonly with basically stating that you have an unrelenting commitment, and a sample sentence would be regardless of the cost. We are in for a penny, in for a pound on this contract, Jerry. And then we see for number 11, it's not rocket science. To say that it's not that difficult to understand, that's a common definition. If we use it in a sample sentence, it's not rocket science, John. It's easy to take out your contact lenses. And then we see the word kickback, which is just a single word idiom, very commonly used in modern business English, unfortunately, meaning that usually refers to an illicit payment a person may receive. As far as used in context, after the contract is signed, the secretary assumed that he would receive a small kickback for coordinating the deal. So that basically conveys to you 3 of the more popular idioms that may show up on a TOEFL SAT. It's always good to know what these are actually stating as far as going forward. With respect to the definitions, we do want to touch base on some of the definitions of these new terms that we're going to be working on. As you can see, we go into these chapters, we get a little bit more complicated words, and of course, it's going to be more important with the match and synonym exercises that you'll be able to match these terms to a common synonym to actually be able to break them down into common English as far as being able to use them in everyday English. So with that said, we have ameliorate, convivial, and we have deprecate. So if we look at these definitions, we can actually see that ameliorate, sample sentence, people who drink green tea may ameliorate their anxiety and may start to feel more relaxed. Verb meaning to make better or to improve. And then we have convivial, sample sentence, the boys in the band were in a convivial mood. Adjective meaning to be social and very outgoing. And then we have deprecate, and that is to show generally disapproval. So if we have, take a look, sample sentence, a journalist decided to deprecate the politician on live TV for his position on violence in Chicago, and that's a verb meaning to show disapproval. If we look at our next set, we have obsequious, obsequious, and we have obstinate, and we have peripatetic. And if we look at their definitions, we can actually see here that obsequious is actually the student had obsequious manners when it came to her chemistry teacher because she wanted an A plus grade. Adjective meaning to obey or show appreciation to gain favor. Obstinate. Sample sentence, Mary was keen on her obstinate ways when it comes to her stance on refusing to give her boyfriend money, meaning that she had very, very stubborn ways. So if you can do a brain map as far as associating the meaning with the actual word, and then if we look very, very quickly at their synonym map for that will reveal to you in the next chapter, we see obstinate, and quite possibly it could mean, let's see, unyielding, just as a clue. Perhaps for the next chapter, we'll go over the answers. As far as the next set of, um, terms that we're actually looking at, perspicuous, and we have proximity, and we have querulous. And if we look at their definitions, we can see that perspicuous, um, perspicuous, sample sentence, the teacher had a perspicuous attitude when it comes to investing in the stock market and giving stock tips. Adjective meaning to use sound thinking. Proximity, sample sentence, so many people in this neighborhood are unaware of their proximity to repeat sex offenders. Noun meaning how close based on location or by time. And then we have querulous. Sample sentence, the teenage girls at their high school were advised to abandon their querulous complaints about testing. Adjective meaning whining. So if we actually looked at our synonym chart for that we're going to be working on, we do see that set of three that are a little bit more difficult compared to previous chapters, and we can see possibly that let's see, proximity would be nearness most likely, and as far as querulous, that would be possibly, let's see, and that may be the synonym petulant. So that's just to give you an idea of doing the mapping, and we'll reveal to you this synonym matching exercise answer sheet in our next chapter. As we look towards the next set, we can see here that we're actually looking at also sagugous. We're also looking at spurious, and we're looking at transitory. And those are the pronunciations. as far as those last three. Keep in mind also that we do have our pronouncing challenge, and that was in chapter 6. So we do cover some of the techniques for better pronunciation of some of these words. So make sure you reference back to chapter 6 for our pronouncing challenge. And if we actually take a look at the next set of definitions, we can actually see here that sagugous, sample sentence, the bank teller took a very sagugous approach to make sure to always count the cash given to the customers twice. Adjective meaning wise approach. And then we have spurious, sample sentence, the FBI is taking a more aggressive approach to curtailing the sale of spurious goods in the United States this year. Adjective meaning fake or counterfeit. And then we have transitory, sample sentence, the residents of South Florida are known to be transitory as many people there relocate to other states frequently. Adjective meaning short-lived. So those are the 12 new words that we've actually added to our vocabulary and really examined. Let's take a closer look at that synonym exercise. We see the last three that we're working on here. And let's see, transitory most likely is going to be mobility as a clue. Spurious, let's see, we know that that's counterfeit, and another word for counterfeit is fake. So spurious is most likely going to be attached to the word fake. And then sagugous, which means showing good discernment, most likely is going to be, let's see, wise, if that's going to be there. Yeah. So those are the 12 new vocabulary words that we're actually working on at this time. Let's put them into use. Just a real quick sample here, as far as a sample paragraph, which is going to be very common. We're going to be using a lot more sample paragraphs to help you understand how words are actually used, and this will help you to increase your comprehension. The passengers on the cruise ship were very happy to witness the convivial manners of the crew and how willing they were to accommodate their requests and help them feel right at home on the 2-week Caribbean voyage. The word convivial in this passage is closest in meaning to which of these options? Whining, outgoing, spurious, or belligerent. And then, as we already stated, the definition of this word is outgoing and social. If we look at another practice exercise as far as a passage is concerned, we did cover this more closer to the actual definition. Researchers have studied the components of green tea and discovered that it can possibly ameliorate endothelial function in the circulatory system. The word ameliorate in this passage is closest in meaning to which of these words? Improve, constrict, diminish, or hinder. Most likely it's going to be improve, which is option A. As we stated, the definition of ameliorate is to make better. So here is our, once again, this is our, if you want to go ahead and start working on our chapter 9 synonym matching exercise, we've given you a few clues for going forward for our next chapter. We're going to talk about the exact answer sheet going forward. And of course, we've covered quite a few synonyms in our last chapter, and here is the map for that exercise. And here we have 24 words and their matching synonyms, and then we'll reveal the answer sheet for this set in our next chapter. So we do hope that you're enjoying these chapters. As you can see, the level of difficulty has increased quite a bit as we move forward we're going to be approaching volume 2 shortly. So we've covered quite a number of words, and we try to interact with these words as far as in using them in passages, as far as making sure that you fully understand how to use them and be able to comprehend them. And we try to do that in a manner which will help you to lessen the number of common grammatical mistakes that are made by test takers. So if any of these words are maybe strange to you, please by all means go back to previous chapters on this channel. You'll be able to, it's based on level of difficulty. So as we get further and further into more chapters, we're going to be incorporating more than one or two words in a passage, so that your level of comprehension is going to significantly increase. And then we're going to call upon words that we've used before and we've given their definition and their synonym, and we will mix it up between the actual definition and the synonym, which is going to further increase your recall powers and your comprehension for the TOEFL, SAT, and other standardized exams. And it only comes with practice as we approach our list of over 500 of the most common words that you will find on the TOEFL and SAT. So with that said, I hope that you enjoyed this chapter of Perfect English Grammar. We're going to be working on our next set of 12 exciting words for you. We're going to be incorporating them with synonyms, and we're also going to be releasing the answer sheet for our next chapter. The answer sheet for this chapter that we covered. We kind of touched base on it here once again, and then we're going to basically bring it back to you with all of the matching. It's important for you to go over each of the answer sheets and make sure that you understand and you're able to correlate the matching between the actual word and its synonym, because that will actually help to increase your recall powers of the actual definition and how it's used in context in passages that you may see on these exams. So we hope that you've really this chapter has been really of assistance to you. We look forward to bringing you more exciting matches as far as synonyms, as well as idioms, as well as more vocabulary and more practice. It's going to be practice, 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 so that you can ace those exams. And we've covered quite a number of vocabulary terms in the last few chapters. So here we are in chapter 9. We're going to be starting a new volume very shortly, and we're going to be using references to previous chapters in order to construct more complicated passages to increase your recall powers, and also increase your comprehension and be able to read the passages faster, as well as increase and improve your ability to comprehend the words and how they're used in context. So we hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching Val News Network. We hope you enjoyed Volume 1, Chapter 9 of Perfect English Grammar, and hit that notification bell so that you can get notified of our next chapter. And as we prepare to start Volume 2, we're going to be covering a lot more in-depth topics going forward, as far as helping you to prepare and ace your TOEFL, SAT, and other standardized exams, as far as relating to Perfect English Grammar. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for tuning in to Val News.